everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Get Ranked Movie Podcast, the show where we take a topic in pop culture and we give you our ranking of that topic. I am one of your hosts, Nick, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Cody, and I'm trying to chew on a Swedish fish. Give me a minute.
Because the minute Cody put it in his mouth, I started the show, because I'm a good friend.
And Swedish fish are like the chewiest candy ever.
Yeah, I'm just eating wax. So, as you heard at the beginning of the episode, in honor of our Halloween Horror Month, this will be the last October Halloween Horror Month episode we will be doing. We have decided to do the Child's Play franchise, including the remakes. We've got 8 movies to look at today. Couldn't think of any other really like Halloween themed stuff to do, so we were trying to what's another horror franchise that we could.
And Nick hates the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
I don't hate them. I've never enjoyed them. Like I really like the first one. The third one's really good. New Nightmare is fun, but I don't find it. I've never found any enjoyment.
I tried to walk out of the remake.
He
twice.
Sure did. You sure did. That was fun. I forced you to sit your ass down and eat your popcorn. I just never enjoyed them. I don't know. They're gross. I've just never found any fun other than the ones I said. So we thought, well, let's do what other horror franchises have had enough. I'm sure as hell not sitting through like 15 Hellraiser movies. Scream has only had 4.
So far.
Phantasm has 5.
Really?
5 or
only had 3.
6. No, there's at least 4. There's at least 5. I just don't remember if the 5th one was the newest one or not.
Okay.
And then I thought, okay, well, let's do Child's Play. And if we pop the remake in there, then we've got 8.
Nice full
that's
list.
A fun franchise. Yeah. And that's a fun franchise because it's one that's lasted, over 30 years. It's been going.
32 years.
Has had many different iterations. But what's fun about the series, we'll get into it when we talk about it, is other than the remake, this is a series whose continuity has continued through 7 films.
Until 2019, there were no reboots, there were no remakes. They were all just sequels. And
all sequels. And even when one came out, and we'll get to it, which was Curse, everyone thought that was kind of a reset or a new kind of branching movie. And then they pull the rug out from under you halfway through, and you're like, oh, no, this is in continuity, which is awesome.
Yeah.
All leading to a TV series we're going to get next year that continues the storyline. So it's just that was one of the fun things about doing this series, as opposed to, when we did Friday the 13th and we did Halloween, which have had multiple different branching timelines and storylines and reboots and sequels and remakes.
And Season of the Witch.
Child's Play and Season of the Witch, which I watched about a half hour of the other day, and I was like, oh God, this movie just is not good. And I laugh all the time when I see articles online around Halloween. Season of the Witch is a good movie. We're people like it now. Let's not jump to good movie. It's an entertaining Halloween movie, like the season of Halloween, but it's still not a good movie. Tom Atkins spends the whole movie just being a lecherous creep with every person he comes in contact with. The nurse,
pretty much.
The coroner, or whatever she is, the girl that comes to help him. Hell, there's even some sexual chemistry between him and the bad guy, Conal Cochran. Like, it's just insane. Like Tom Atkins is just a flaming sex machine. But speaking of other flaming sex machines, Charles Lee Ray.
Brad Dourif.
That's right. Cody, I've always liked Child's Play franchise. I can remember growing up and like being freaked out by it. It was never one I watched growing up. I remember like seeing the first one really young. It's one of those things where like in my memory, and this could have been a dream, I had like a memory when I was younger, or like as I got older, I had a memory when I was younger of like a shot of like stairs and Chucky's shadow walking upstairs. And I don't think that's in any of like the original movies.
Did your house ever even have stairs?
When we lived with my grandparents when I was younger,
okay.
Yes. The one, towards the end, no. But I don't think that's in any of the original movies. I just think it's one of those things that I just projected. Maybe it was a dream, But
okay.
Chucky always freaked me out. And as I got older, I went back and watched them all and really appreciated the series. But Cody, what's your history with Child's Play or the Chucky series?
The Chucky series. So I had seen Seed of Chucky many years ago, and that was the only one I had seen. I don't remember like what brought me to watch it, why I watched it, or anything. And then I of course, we went and saw the reboot in theaters last October. Was it October?
Why didn't we do Child's Play? No, it came out in June. Why didn't we do Child's Play last year for that? I don't remember what we did that week, but that's weird.
I don't remember. But no, and so I hadn't seen a lot of it, and I remember like I've always known who Chucky is, and he's a murderous doll, but I never knew he was the possessed spirit of a serial killer. Yeah, spirit possessed by a serial killer, David Lee Roth. And
God damn it.
Listen,
now, question.
It took me 3 movies.
Do you have a list in front of you now of a bunch of different 3 named people?
No, I'm playing it by ear this whole time. I actually have the cast list of all the movies, and Charles Lee Ray is right in front of me. Actually,
I was gonna say, because it would not surprise you of you doing research for the bit, and I would have tipped my hat to you, my mug to you.
No, I just know a lot of 3 named people. So when the ghost of Joseph Gordon-Levitt possessed this Chucky doll,
that would be a premium rush. 3 weeks in a row.
I mean, it's interesting that I never knew it was voodoo. I never knew all that backstory, and it was fun. And seeing, hearing him say the same line every movie, which I'm convinced that he just recorded that line once and just replayed the same voice clip. The chant, the incantation, yeah.
Ane Due Dembele or whatever.
Give me the power that I need, or whatever.
I beg of you.
Yeah, because it sounds exactly the same every time he says it, except for
I would like to say, I just think that Brad Dourif's voice has not changed in 30 some years.
It has not, but there was some times where I was watching it and not quite paying attention, and I could hear Danny DeVito as the Lorax. He sounds a lot like DeVito in a lot of parts.
In another world, DeVito plays Charles Lee Ray. Maybe. He should have been Detective Pikachu. Could you imagine Brad Dourif as Detective Pikachu?
That'd be perfect. But no, I say it's a series that,
so these were all first watches then,
except for Seed and
the
reboot, which I didn't watch the reboot since it's still somewhat fresh in my mind. And
just for the sheer fun value, you should have.
I should have. The final scene is a hoot, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad I watched them. Little weird at times, for sure, especially towards the end, towards Seed and Curse times. It was Jennifer Tilly played Jennifer Tilly because she looked like Jennifer Tilly's character from.
I like.
It's like Julia Roberts pretending to be Julia Roberts in Ocean's 12.
Oceans. I like. There's a line where they directly reference that in Cult when she calls Andy and he goes, "Who am I talking to? Tiffany?" And she goes, Tiffany, Jennifer. Who the hell knows anymore? Exactly. What a good line, because it's so true. The movie's just completely disregarded any sense of who is who now, But it's still fun. It was fun going back to a few of these. There were a few I didn't rewatch because I've seen them enough. Hell, even this year, I shit you not, they play Bride of Chucky all the time in October on AMC. So I didn't have to rewatch that one. But yeah, it was fun. Cody, want to tell them how the show works, or is there anything you want to get into? I do want to say I watched a movie called Ghost Watch today that I heard about on another podcast I listened to, the Critically Acclaimed podcast with Whitney Seibold and William Bibiani. And they were doing their not their top 10, but just they do a top 10, but they don't rank theirs. They just literally just say they're just a top 10 to them of any given topic.
Right.
Every month or so, or every couple weeks they do this, and they did ghost movies, and Bibiani had this on his ghost movies list, and I'd never heard of it. It was like a 1992 made for TV BBC movie, but what was awesome about it was they aired it as if it was a live television event, to where
didn't they learn from War of the Worlds?
Apparently not. And basically it's them investigating this real haunted house. And it, like I said, it all is posited as if it's real, but most of it was filmed like a month before it even aired, but they filmed it as if it is a live feed. And they had people in the main area, like the back in the studio, like a presenter talking about it. And slowly throughout the hour and a half, more and more shit starts happening to where like it eventually goes chaotic and chaos ensues. And like, movie's really damn scary. I was really surprised by it. Like for a made for TV movie, like there's some really good scary shit in this movie. Like the ghost in the movie is called Pipes. Because it's always banging on shit. And to quell the fears of the children, the mom always told the kids, oh, it's just the pipes. And then eventually they just started calling the ghost in the house Pipes. And it's this creepy, like bald guy wearing like this long black, like dress looking thing. He's in so many shots in the background in this movie, and it's horrifying every single time you happen to catch it.
Oh, like Pennywise
I saw
in
one,
It.
and I had to, and I had to pause it. I'm like, was that Pipes? Oh, wow, that's creepy. And what's even more incredible is when you actually start to do research about the movie itself, to where like there were actual like psychological studies done about this movie, because it actually caused PTSD in kids. To where like they did a study where this was like the first program they could ever find that actually caused PTSD. This 18-year-old kid who had mental disabilities like literally killed himself because of it, and they said that's why. Like the kid apparently for like 3 weeks after he watched it was just disturbed by it, and their pipes banged in their house, and he was so upset by it, the kid killed himself. Like it's horrifying, but I can see why. Like Cody said, it is like a War of the Worlds situation, and it was creepy. I was happy with it. It's a good Halloween watch if you can find it.
So I did find it when you mentioned it on archive.org. The Internet Archive does have it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's a legal site because I'm not 100%, but I mean, archive.org is a widely used.
I think Internet Archive is legit.
Yeah.
No, it's legit. So, I think that was the whole purpose of the Internet Archive, was to be able to put stuff on there for people to watch for free.
Yeah. So Internet Archive does have Ghost Watch on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Go check it out. It starts off slow because they're building it up, but you just got to keep in the back of your head the mindset of when people were watching this in 92, they thought this was real. So it makes it even more fun when you're watching it, thinking like, what would I be thinking if I was sitting at home watching this? Like, because they have like a telephone bank of people. Hey, you can call in and tell us about your stories. Well, of course, everyone that called in was scripted, but I saw something in the corner of the room during the one shot. It's like, oh shit, It was just it was done so well. All the facets they had to make it seem real, and it's really a creepy ass scary movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Right.
And I watched The Witches and Borat. Witches is fun. Borat was fantastic. I recommend them both. Borat more than Witches.
I haven't watched Borat yet, but I started The Witches, with Roald Dahl's The Witches, which I never read the book. I think I only read a few Roald Dahl books, like James and the Giant Peach, and was he the Phantom Tollbooth as well? I don't remember.
Phantom Tollbooth? I don't know. He was the BFG. He was
Big Friendly Giant.
Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I'm looking up the Phantom Tollbooth because that no, it was not. It was Norton Juster. It just seemed like a Roald Dahl. Anyway,
It's too hot in here. I can't wear that jacket anymore.
You need an airier jacket. As I'm over here just in my Hawaiian shirt, just chilling.
Well, I have 2 vents in this room, and the heat's been on all day, so a
little
stuffy.
We actually finally turned our heat on yesterday, which I don't think we really need
I had it off this weekend. It wasn't that bad this weekend.
No.
Or even Friday. It was really nice.
But I could tell when somebody turned it on, because it was in the middle of the night and I'm laying in bed and it's like, is the house on fire? The first furnace of the year. Burning all the dust out of there. It's like, I should go check this. And I just, pulled out my phone, opened the Nest app. It's like, oh, just the furnace is running. House isn't burning down. Go back to sleep.
Or even worse, you look at your Nest app and your Nest has become sentient and is burning your house down. And it just is a message that says, I'm sorry, Cody. You have to burn.
Oh, now I want my Nest just to have like the red eye like Hal.
All right. Well, other than that, Cody, did you watch anything spooky this week other than Child's Play you want to talk about?
Nope. I don't think I watched anything else. Witches, which is pretty good. So far, I haven't finished it.
It's a good kids movie.
Ran out of time. But, so
Cody,
the way the show works.
The show works.
Yes, the way
this right now.
Yeah.
You tell him, Cody.
I'm trying to tell him. The way the show works is every week, Nick and I take a topic of pop culture, be it movies, television, books, radio, music, video games, phone books. Sarah Connor.
Next week.
And of that topic, we make our top 10-ish list. Today we only got 8. We make these lists on our own. We do not consult with each other. We do not coerce. No collusion. But
I did try calling Cody to dig up dirt on Charles Lee Ray so I could win the election.
Exactly.
Collusion.
No, yeah.
Quid pro quo.
Squid pro row, Mr. Powers.
So for each day this week, I'm going to dress as something different for work. I'm going to throw my Austin Powers costume on tomorrow, I think.
I think you have to at this point.
Yeah,
Were you David S. Pumpkins today?
I can't find the teeth, which is really upsetting. I worked from home all day today, so no, I was Pajama Nick.
Perfect. So, without further ado, our lists, beginning with Nick's number 8, because we only have 8 this week.
That's right. So, my number 8 is Child's Play 3.
Punt. Just a little bit.
Tell them what that is, Cody.
So a punt is when one of us has an item on the list higher. So Nick has Child's Play 3 as his number 8. I have it a couple spots up. We'll find out where in just a moment. So moving over to my number 8, which, I mean, we're only going to talk about 8 movies today. So how much these lists line up is going to be kind of wild. But it's my number 8, my least favorite. Still good, but my number 8 is The Curse of Chucky.
Punt.
Okay. So moving down to my number 7. In due order, according to my list, my number 7 is Cult of Chucky.
It's my number 6.
Your number 6? All right. So
I will put it this way. I'll say this for my list. Other than basically my number 8 and 7, because they're 2 that I don't really ever watch, my 6 and down, I think, are all really good movies.
Okay.
And I use that word really good because I do think from my 6, which is Cult, Cody's 7, down are all really good. So that made it hard to rank them, but I ended up doing my list. The ones I've watched the most and ones I'll go back to in the, kind of the order I would. So that's how I kind of have done mine, or how I've watched them over the years, which ones I've watched more, which ones I will watch more, yada, yada.
Okay.
And so that's how mine factor out. But from like this point down from me, starting with Cult, I think they're all really good.
Okay. So, yeah. So Cult of Chucky, my number 6. This is, I feel like, where it started to get, or I mean, at this point they had gone like completely off the rails, and you know, the wildness with say, and I love it. I love that they brought Andy back and he's just torturing the original Chucky doll in his house. I love the footage we get where he's taken the Chucky doll head to the head administrator dude, and he's shooting it with a nail gun, and it's Brad Dourif just, it's the scream he does every time he shoots it. It kills me. It's just so good. Brad Dourif just thinks it's a puppet.
Awesome in this one. Yeah, like Brad Dourif, we're going to talk about a lot throughout this episode, but
you don't say.
We're going to talk about him a lot for this one. I think he has given such a good performance. It's never a bad performance. In this one, in Cult of Chucky, he gets to do even more with it because he gets to do multiple Chuckies.
He's multiple Chuckies.
And each one, I feel like, has its own personality. So like the one with the hair that was cut, he does it kind of a higher, register, where he's just kind of a little dorky. And he's so good.
I love that bit where they're all deciding who gets to kill, or who gets to kill Fiona. No, who gets to do something.
Well, it's Fiona Dourif, but it's who gets to kill Andy, I believe.
Who gets to kill Andy? That's what it is. And he's like, "Look at my hair." Oh yeah, you're right. You're definitely got the worst out of all of us.
Yeah, you go ahead.
And conveniently, that's the one that Andy hid the gun in.
Yeah, he lucked out. He absolutely lucked out.
Which that was super convenient. Yeah, and I want to say, especially towards the end, I'm just going to skip right to the end when Charles Lee Ray did it right that time. When he possesses
Nika.
there we go, that's her name. Like throughout, I know it's his daughter. I know it's Brad Dourif's daughter, but once she is possessed by him, she like changes her face and it looks just like him, which
it's
is
spooky, isn't it?
Really freaky. But when she
it works,
it works perfectly. When she gets in the car at the end with Jennifer Tilly or Valentine or whatever her name is in this movie, Tiffany, whatever.
We'll just say Tiffany, unless we're talking about Seed. We'll just say Tiffany.
So when she gets in the car and she's sitting in the passenger seat and she gets that look, it's like that is. I mean, she is a perfect.
She's even got the laugh down.
And yes, exactly. You can tell she hangs out with her dad a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I went when this first came out. I was really excited for it because I liked Curse a lot, and so when Cult came out, it premiered on Netflix. So like it went to Netflix if I remember correctly, or maybe it was on Amazon. I rented it the day it came out. I don't remember, but I remember watching it. I remember when it ended, thinking that was good, but not as good as I wanted it to be. And I hadn't watched it since. I hadn't watched it since today. Actually, I rewatched it while working, and I enjoyed it a lot more this time.
Okay.
Knowing what was going to happen, knowing the direction it was going to go, and knowing that there were multiple Chuckies. Because the first time I watched it, I had no clue.
You're trying to figure out which Chucky it was, yeah, or which.
Yeah, and it's called Cult of Chucky, so that instantly lets you know there's going to be either multiple Chuckies or people helping Chucky. Like
I thought it was going to be people helping Chucky.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I went with that thought, and so watching it this time was much more entertaining, knowing that like, oh, okay, so it's just because they both are alive. Chucky was able to split his soul into multiple people.
Yeah,
and I think it really works. I think some of the best kills are in this movie. When the guy gets the drill through the back of his head and it comes out his eyeball. Oh my god,
that one
is so gruesome. And they linger on it for so long.
And the other one, like I like when Chucky was kind of like goofing with the one girl that was strapped to the table after he bit her, and it's like, what does compressed mean? It's like that. Does that mean what I think of? And then he knocks in, it goes into the skylight and cuts her head off,
and somehow cuts through bone.
Yeah, that was a little far fetched.
But it's fun. But it's cool though, because it's like the series has become that, just the really gory, over the top stuff. And I just think Don Mancini filmed this one really well. I like it's very white. The whole place is white on the insides. It's during winter. And I just think it works. I just think it works a lot to further the story, and it ends it in a place that's really exciting. And I'm wondering if that's going to be where the show goes. I'm assuming it will, because every movie has stuck to continuity. So I'm eager to see where it goes, but I just think it's just I just thought it was really entertaining this time. First time I watched it, I was down on it. I was like, it was fine, but coming off of Curse, I expected more. I just thought it wasn't as entertaining, but it was much more entertaining this time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still a fun movie. Like, I don't think I dislike any of these movies. Okay. Like I know, I don't know what you were saying about yours 8 and 7, but like Curse and Cult, they're still good movies. They're just, I like the other ones more.
Gotcha.
So,
right. Anything else on Cult?
No,
Chucky.
Nothing else on the Cult of Chucky.
All right, so moving over to my number 7. So basically, like I said, mine was based on which ones I'm going to put back in to watch. My 8, like I said, Child's Play 3. I've watched, I think, a couple times. I'm probably never going to watch them again because I didn't like it. My number 7 is another one where I've seen it like twice, and I don't know if I ever will again, just because I just didn't enjoy it. My number 7's Seed of Chucky.
Fun.
Okay. Moving down to my number 6, which was Cult of Chucky. Cody, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is a punt from earlier. My number 6 is Child's Play 3.
Child's Play 3. All
so
right. You like this more than the new 2. Okay.
I do. I like that it went back again. I mean, that we're still dealing with Andy. I like the Andy stuff. And I like that there's like a new kid for Chucky to torment as well, and Tyler, to where this is the first one. So I mean, the whole movie, and of course Tyler's just trying to play. He's a kid. He's got his Sega Game Gear the entire game, or the entire movie. Which, I mean, who
Hey,
else?
Freddy had the power glove.
That's right. But so did the bad guy from The Wizard. You know, the biggest cash grab movie Nintendo ever put out. I mean, Miramax? No, it was a Nintendo movie.
We'll just say Fred Savage ever put out.
Fred Savage, yes. Macho Man Randy Savage?
Ooh,
Where am I going with this?
Dead.
Woo! Wait, that was a
That's
bad
Ric
time
Flair.
to woo.
That's Ric Flair.
That's Ric Flair.
With Child's Play 3, my problem
Anyway.
with Child's Play 3, and it's been a problem since first time I've seen it, and it's one that I have a problem with now. It does nothing new. It's the same damn movie for the third time. The kills are entertaining, and I actually do have a soft spot for the finale, which takes place in like a big
The circus.
circus or more
carnival.
importantly the haunted house
Oh, okay.
like ride. Like I do really think that finale's fun, but it just was more of the same. Whereas that's why I liked Cult, and I know Curse is your 8. I'm only bringing them up because they're your 2 above that, is because I feel like they at least took them in a new direction and tried doing some different stuff with it. And so I always get bored with Child's Play 3 because once I get done watching the first 2, I get to the third one and it's the same thing, just at military school. Brad Dourif is still good as hell. He's always good. You're never going to find a bad performance from him in this entire series. It's never been my favorite to go back to. Like if Child's Play 3 is on, it's going to be the one I don't like. Like I don't go, oh, Child's Play 3 is on and turn it on, you know, like the other one. So that's why that's my number 8. Cause it's truly the one I don't want to watch if I don't have to, because I just feel like there's nothing new brought to it other than if I turn it on and it's the finale, I'm going to sit and watch that. Cause I think that's really fun.
Okay. And I mean, one of my favorite kills is in this movie. And even though it's really not even Chucky killing, Dakin Matthews' character, he just has a heart attack when he sees Chucky walk in with the knife, and then collapses on the War Games table. It's like, and the way Chucky reacts is like, okay, I guess that works.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That guy's lucky that he had a heart attack and didn't have anything horrible happen to him from Chucky. Right. Which also pulls back to what I love. There's a moment in Cult that I forgot to bring up where he so bad wants to kill Nika that when he gets into her room for the first time and sees she slit her wrist,
he stitches her up.
Yeah. He stitches her up to keep her alive and was like, not so fast, you know, like, no, if you're not going to die, I'm going to kill you. And I always like that side of Chucky, to where it's like, you know, well, I'll save you because I want to be the one to do it.
I want to have some fun here.
Evil and hatred in him. Yeah.
Exactly.
But Child's Play 3, continue.
And I mean, just that. The only time you see Chucky kill somebody with a gun really is in this movie, and it's not even him doing it. He just replaces the paintball rounds with the real bullet and
with live rounds. Yeah,
and like that whole time I'm waiting for it. It's like who's gonna get shot? How many people are gonna get shot? Who's got the?
That's a fun sequence because it is like a Russian roulette sequence. We're gonna talk about another Russian roulette type sequence in a little bit that I think works even more.
Okay.
But that one's fun.
Yeah,
because,
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, but that one's fun because it is, like you said, a true Russian roulette moment of who's got the bullets and who's going to take the bullet.
Yeah, who's going to take the bullet, or who's got the... Ugh. That scene pissed me off because I was trying to figure out who it was the whole time. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute when we get back to Curse. So, I mean, it's a fun movie. I like the... I mean...
I just didn't think
I hate the drill sergeant guy.
I don't like that they recast... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I did hate the drill sergeant character. So I mean, his death wasn't. Yes, it was a shocking death because he's the one that got shot with the live round. But it's one of those characters that you weren't really mad to see go because he was a dick the entire movie. And like he didn't even get a redemption arc, really. But anyway.
True.
Yeah.
I'm letting you continue because my internet says it's slow, so I'm sure I'm going to be choppy. So I was just letting you keep going.
Yeah, I say you're not choppy, but I think you might be delayed. But we'll go with it. I'm done with 3.
Yeah, no. One last thing I wanted to say is just I just never liked the characters in this one. I didn't like that they recast Andy.
That kind of bothered me.
I get they wanted to up the age and Alex Vincent wasn't old enough yet to get to the age they wanted him to be, but and I just didn't think anyone was that interesting. None of the characters other than Andy and Chucky were characters I gave a shit about.
Yeah. Say the roommate a little bit, the girl a little bit, but still nothing.
Nothing to write home about.
Nothing to write home about.
It's no Nika Pierce.
It is no Nika Pierce.
Or Stevie Ray Vaughan. All right, exactly. Cody.
All right. So, moving down to my number 5. Yeah. Just trying to see where we're going to break after 5. Okay. It's going to be a short episode. We need to talk more about these later movies, which we probably will. So my number 5
probably
is,
and whatnot.
Yeah. One of the weirder ones to me. But still a ton of fun. Had some deaths that I was sad about. My number 5 is Bride of Chucky.
Punt.
Okay.
All right. Moving over to my number 5. And if I get choppy at all, Cody, just tell me and I'll take it back.
Will do.
Because you're still roboting for me on your screen a little bit. Yeah. Your audio is fine. It's just, it's like I'm watching a television from the
As long as they can 80s. Hear, as long as we can hear each other, that's perfect. Sorry, that's people true. On YouTube. We're just going to. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was just thinking of the pandemic special of when Cartman at the beginning like fakes the freezing and then just holds the picture of him up to the camera.
All right. My number. So my number 5 is basically where it got really hard. It could be, but this is where it got really hard for me because like this one I really enjoy, but it was just a matter of like, this is where it falls. My number 5 is Child's Play 2.
Punt.
Okay.
if not just because it's after the break, but at least.
No, that's fine because same with mine with your Bride of Chucky. It's after the break, so I punted it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So in the middle of every episode, even though we've only been talking for like 25 minutes, which is really weird, this is going to be a short episode for Halloween, making it easy so you can listen to the show, get out, trick or treat, even though I'm probably going to release the episode after everyone's done trick or treating in middle of the night. Like that's par for the course so far.
Maybe we'll get lucky and Cody will fast track it and put it out before.
I'll try to put it out Sunday morning. So Saturday morning, whatever. It'll probably be out earlier because I have a lot of extra time this week. Anyway, we take an ad break for our audio listeners and for our YouTube viewers, mini bonus content. I don't think we have anything today. So everybody, welcome back to the Get Ranked Movie Podcast, where every week we take a topic of pop culture and give you our rankings of it. We are looking at the films of the Child's Play franchise, that being 8 movies featuring our favorite little serial killer, Lee Harvey Oswald, and his possession. Exactly. And his, possessing the good guy doll and, killing off Buzz and Woody and just going after Andy. Every time he said, "Hey, Andy."
That was a fun marketing campaign.
That was a great marketing campaign for the remake. But
yeah.
So moving down to Nick's number 4.
My number 4 is a slight punt from earlier. My number 4 is Bride of Chucky.
Okay.
Which is fun because it was the 4th Child's Play movie.
It were.
This was the one where they really decided, let's do something different with the series. Because Child's Play 3 was so... People didn't like it. It was the same damn thing for the 3rd time. What was something new we could do? So they hired Ronnie Yu, who was known for martial arts movies and really fun spectacle movies at the time. He would eventually go on to do Freddy versus Jason. And you can see a lot of that type of style in Bride of Chucky a lot.
Okay.
And they decided, let's go a little more comedic with it. Let's throw some comedy into this with the horror because... Let's be honest, the premise of a killer doll is already ridiculous.
It's wild.
It just is. Yeah, it just is. So let's throw a little bit of comedy in here and make it a little more fun. And they threw in the awesome character of Tiffany. I almost said Jennifer Tilly, kind of. The character of Tiffany, which was, Jerry Lee Lewis's, uh, girlfriend before he got killed, from
Mhm.
in the first movie, and she gets his remains and uses voodoo to bring him back to life. And I just like the idea that Chucky then decides to kill her and he puts her soul
He
into his
basically
Tiffany doll.
casting revenge. Like, you made fun of me, so
Yep.
here's your comeuppance, and now you're a
Just his-
doll.
Yep, just keeping his short fuse alive in the
Mhm.
series. That Chucky's just so quick to anger. Kills her, puts her soul in a Tiffany doll, and it's basically about them trying to get into bodies, and the bodies they choose are these two younger characters who are going to run away and elope because John
Katherine
Ritter is a
Heigl
complete
and
monster.
the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy, Katherine Heigl, proving she still couldn't act even back then. And basically it's a road trip movie. It's them trying to elope with these two dolls in the back seat they don't know about until they do. And it's just got so many fun sequences. Bride of Chucky is just a blast. It really is still. Even rewatching it again this year, which I didn't rewatch it for the list because I just rewatched it like 2 weeks ago on the Fear
Right.
Fest. It's just a blast. It's just a fun ass movie. Like, it's got so many fun horror references. Hell, the whole opening sequence where the cops going through the evidence locker, you see Michael Myers' mask. You see
and
the
that was
hockey mask. You
I
see
was
his
gonna text you when I
chainsaw.
saw that. I was gonna text you when I was watching that. It's like, so Michael Myers, Friday the 13th, and Child's Play all take place in the same universe.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what a horrifying world that is, right? But it's just a fun opening, and it's just got so many fun moments. Like I said, John Ritter playing so against type.
John
John
Ritter's character was so annoying.
He was awful.
He was
And
awful. And
his
the other
death
cop.
is so much fun. Yeah, and John Ritter's death is so much fun. He basically becomes Pinhead.
I predicted it like a half a second as soon as the nails were sitting up on the dash, and it's like, oh shit, he's gonna set off the airbag. Oh shit, he's gonna set off the airbag. And
even the deputy's death, which is fun when Chucky crawls his little ass over and lights the gas
turns
tank
the
on
car
fire.
into a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, it's just fun. And it's the addition of Jennifer Tilly's Tiffany is just such a shot in the arm the series needed, because then you've got that joke on the newlywed couple who are bickering, and of course you get the gratuitous puppet toy sex scene, which is still ridiculous but funny. I love
not as bad as Team America.
Yeah, I love Kathy Najimy's cameo as the maid.
I like that
housekeeper.
too, because she's just screaming, ah!
Yeah, she's funny and everything. I love it. It's just a fun little cameo.
Uh-huh.
And all leads to this really fun finale at the cemetery, and I love when Chucky just calls it out. I'll be back. I always come back. You know?
Totally, breaking through. And I like that, I always like it in the movies when other people finally start figuring out, oh shit, they're telling the truth. Or, I mean,
exactly. And in this case, when the friend finds out it's true, you walk into traffic.
That was the death that I was sad for. I liked his character, and the way he died was just unexpected, and just because he was just trying to flag down the cops, and he gets creamed by a semi truck.
Taken out by a semi. It's just so much fun. And I forgot there's another moment in Cult that's very winking to the camera that Bride has a lot of. When in Cult, when Chucky says something like, oh, it's like Hannibal Lecter, still not happy they canceled that show or something like that, because Don Mancini between Curse and Cult worked on the Hannibal TV series.
Okay.
So it was just kind of a fun nod to they probably had just canceled it when they were filming that movie. But Bride of Chucky is just a blast. It really is. It was, like I said, it was a shot in the arm the series needed. It was growing stale at that point, and it was fun and smart to bring that black humor into it. The updated, it's very late 90s, the music, Rob Zombie,
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's a fun movie from start to finish.
And I will say, this is I think this is my favorite look I love the stitched together Chucky. I love that design of that.
It was a really
Chucky.
cool, a really cool choice for that movie was the put back together Chucky doll. Like you said, the stitching.
Yeah.
The one eye, which is like kind of peeled back, and it's like splintered off. Like, it's just a really cool choice.
And in Curse? Yeah, I think it was Curse when they brought him back, and I thought at the beginning of it, they changed how Chucky looked. He looks awful, and then they peeled off the makeup, and it's like, oh, that's why his forehead was so big. That's why his chin looked swollen, and they peel it. It's like that, and that back to the design that I like of Chucky.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. Yeah,
I don't know if I like that look better or the look of just the severed head in that Andy had in Cult.
I like it purely just for him shooting it with the nail gun,
burning it with the flamethrower.
It's the fact they do it twice, and the scream, I believe, is just the same scream twice. It's funny every time to me.
Yeah.
Oh shit! But and then of course it ends with the horrific birth scene setting up the eventual sequel that we would get, where you have the evil, because of course she's gonna, they're basically humans, like they posit that, they set that up in the first movie, that you slowly are becoming human, that you bleed, you can get hurt, so it makes sense, that of course if they had sex, here comes little baby Chucky, and they cut to black right when it jumps, which is such a ridiculous looking shot. It just jumps, it cuts to black.
Face hugger from Alien.
It's just got Chucky's little face. Of course, it looks nothing like what we get in Seed, but
no, not at all. So, all right.
Okay.
Anything else on The Bride of Chucky? That was my number.
That was my 4.
My 5. Your 4. So, I think moving right on up. My number 4 is Seed of Chucky.
Oh my God, you like this more than Bride?
I say this one was a fun movie. This one was fun. I really do enjoy the Jennifer Tilly playing Jennifer Tilly, because I do enjoy that. I like the humor in this one, that, the whole time when, Jennifer Tilly's just trying to get a movie role, and she hitting on Redman, and
which Don Mancini originally offered that part to Tarantino and he turned it down.
Oh geez, of course.
Can you imagine that?
That would have been a lot creepier, because Tarantino's always been creepy.
Instantly would have been my number 1.
If it was Tarantino instead of Redman. But I like at the beginning of, he's playing a ventriloquist puppet, as the puppet, and because it's really his voice, because he's the cursed, possessed, whatever. He's really doesn't.
It's not possessed at all.
He's possessed at all. He's just born that way.
Doll.
Like Lady Gaga.
And born that way, even having more subtext, because this movie's all about basically LGBTQ ideas. You know what I mean? Like Don Mancini, who wrote the series from the beginning and directed this one, is himself a gay man.
Okay.
And, a lot of stuff in this series, kind of, even the new one, Cult of Chucky, the idea of a male, Charles Lee Ray, putting his mind into the body of a woman, Mika, is an LGBTQ type kind of concept and idea. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that isn't surprising coming from Don Mancini. He's, like when he did Seed of Chucky, he delivered the first script to Universal. They literally sent it back with a sticky note that said "too gay."
Oh.
He had to try to shop it out to other companies. You know what I mean? Like, and so his thought was, I'm going to do this movie and basically do a Chucky version of Glenn or Glenda.
I mean, to the point where they named the child Glenn/Glenda, depending on who was talking about them.
So there's a lot of that subtext in this movie of kind of that duality between man and woman, the brother, sister, whatever. I just, this is definitely my 7. I don't very much like this movie. It's my 7 over Child's Play 3, because I at least can get some enjoyment out of it, because it's funny. But I just feel like this one got too funny for its own good. Bride of Chucky, I think, walked that perfect balance between funny and horror.
Okay.
Because it still had some horrific, good, scary moments with kind of the back and forth banter between Chucky and Tiffany that was funny. Whereas this one, I just felt like Mancini said, nope, it's just full-blown comedy. It's going to be weird. The kills are great. I mean, John Waters being just melted by acid is funny.
John Waters was creepy in this movie. He's taking pictures of
Waters
them through the window.
Always creepy.
He's the creep. Oh.
He's so good, but I just this one's never worked for me.
Okay.
I just think he went too meta with it. The whole Jennifer Tilly being a character in this series doesn't work for me at all. I've never liked that twist of, it's Jennifer Tilly, but she's also voicing Tiffany, who sounds exactly like Jennifer Tilly, who's played by a character who's played by Jennifer Tilly. And that they're making a Chucky movie. It's never
like
worked
Austin
for me.
Powers 3.
Yeah, but this one doesn't have Spielberg doing somersaults through the air.
True. But I mean, I like that the doll that comes to life in this one again is the animatronic from the movie set.
That works. That's how they bring them back.
That's how they bring them back. And then I'd say like you mentioned John Waters' death with the acid. I liked the Red Man kill when he's like under the table cutting out his intestines while Jennifer Tilly's just in the other room doing her stuff. The kill where he sends the assistant, sets the assistant on fire and she launches off the balcony. That was a well shot scene.
Which, if I remember correctly, and your internet's better to look this up than mine, isn't that assistant Baby Spice?
S Club 7.
S Club 7. I knew she was from one of those like 90s bands that were really popular, and for some reason that's right, she was S Club 7. Okay.
Yeah.
God, Jesus, you remember S Club 7?
I didn't until I was looking up the cast earlier and clicked on her name.
I knew she was from something like that because I remember when I watched this the first time being like, I know her. It's unfortunate I know her, but I know her. Yeah, this one, just like I said, I just think Bride is a better made movie. I just think it's a better story. I like it more. This one, like I said, is not my dead last purely because there are funny moments I enjoy, whereas Child's Play 3 doesn't have really any of that. It's too much of the same. This one, at least, I appreciate because he tried to do something different with the whole Glenn or Glenda storyline. I just didn't think it stuck the landing. I do like the ending, though, when the arm comes out of the box and attacks him. That was funny.
Yeah.
He just gets too much in it for its own good, and it just gets too confusing.
Okay.
I remember the first time I watched it and it ended, because I watched it like when it first came out. Oh, was that 2004 or something?
4.
I remember watching it and being like, it ended, and I went, "What the hell did I just watch?" I have no clue what the hell happened. Who's in who? Is that the kids? What is happening? Like, it was just, it doesn't work for me.
Gotcha.
But Cody, you have it pretty low, so
or high.
So tell us more about why, if you have anything else.
I mean, that was the biggest things. Like, it was the fun kills. I like them going into the meta of it. I like
and it was your first. You're always going to have a soft spot for your first.
And I'd seen this one a while ago, so yeah, a little bit of a soft spot for me. I didn't remember a lot of it. All I remembered really was like Jennifer Tilly playing Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany, and that's the other thing I was going to bring up. Who was in the doll at the end of Cult? Because at the end of Cult of Chucky, Tiffany was in the back.
If Chucky can split his soul, why can't Tiffany?
True.
That's the first time I watched it, that was my first thought. After that first initial jolt of, oh shit, there's the doll, and she's moving. I remember thinking, well, what makes sense if Chucky learned how to split his soul? Why wouldn't have Tiffany have done it?
Well, and my other thought on that was it was the niece that she killed. Maybe she didn't kill her.
I don't think so, because Tiffany has a line at the end where she's really kind of upset about the niece having to die.
Yeah.
You know, where Chucky goes out, who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
True.
So I took it more as she split her soul because it's easier for Jennifer Tilly to get in someplace than it is for a Tiffany doll.
True. Okay.
That's how I've always taken it, is that, yeah, she just split her soul. So if we eventually get the show and it continues that timeline or continuity,
it'll
you're going to have multiple
something.
Chuckies and multiple Tiffany's, you know, running around causing toy shenanigans.
It's just going to be supernatural with both Chucky.
I'm fine with that.
Anyway, that random Cult run again. But no, nothing else on Seed of Chucky. My number 4.
Good deal.
So moving down to my number 3. My top 3 was probably the most difficult for me.
Okay.
So my number 3 is Child's Play 2019.
Mine too.
The remake. All right.
And now we're going to piss a lot of people off for having the remake this high, because I know a lot of people.
Not my
this is
hashtag,
definitely
not
going
my
to be
Chucky.
one. This is definitely going to be one I think people are going to look much more favorably upon. Maybe 10 years from now, they're going to look back and go, you know what, we were unfairly harsh on this movie because it wasn't the Child's Play we knew.
Right.
And we'll appreciate it for what it is, which is just a damn good, fun slasher film.
It's a fun slasher film.
I wouldn't even say horror, because it's not scary.
And it had familiar characters. I liked this as its own movie. Like, not comparing it to, not looking at it as a Child's Play movie, just a movie with a killer doll named
slasher
Chucky.
film.
Because it's
just a new slasher film.
Because it's not Charles Nelson Riley possessing a doll. It is not. It is. It's basically Amazon taking over, and I mean, well, not Amazon directly, a disgruntled worker at Amazon. If an Echo device that was in the form of a doll,
burn Cody's house down,
came to life and started. Yeah, like my thermostat's about to set my house on fire. And that's what makes this movie interesting to me, just from the technology standpoint. Do I think it's kind of lazy or stupid that it's just, turning off the inhibition flip switch at the beginning because he's pissed off because he's getting fired?
It's lazy, yes, in the sense that it's him just turning it off. But I like the idea that it's a commentary on how, look at the conditions these people work in. Look how when he says to this guy, I found you basically living on the street, earning scraps for your family, and now you're fired, get out. It's a commentary on the fact that, like, yeah, we literally can push a button on our phone and order anything we want from this massive company called Amazon. But in reality, a lot of the shit they make, and a lot of the shit Apple makes, even Apple, because Apple you could also look at as this too, are made by basically indentured servants. You know what I mean? And so I looked at it as, it's a little lazy. He's pushing a button and turning off the inhibitor chip, basically. And you could look at it that way, but I also look at it is that commentary on basically we're 1 inch away from pissing off these workers that make the shit we do and making stuff where it's chaos. You know what I mean? So I actually like that idea that, like, you know what, with my last dying breath, I'm turning the shit off and I'm going to cause chaos and then go jump off a building. You know what I mean? Like, I like that idea, but I was so happy with this movie.
That was probably the jump scare that got me the most when he landed on that car.
The way the shot was framed when you and I went and saw this, I remember not jumping from it because I remember thinking, something's going to hit that car. But I do remember you jumping and laughing my ass off. I love this movie. Like I said, I don't necessarily think it's scary. I don't think there's really any like scary moments in the movie. I think it's just a fun slasher film, which I don't think a lot of slashers are scary. Like Friday the 13th is not scary.
When he has Aubrey Plaza tied up in that like warehouse room, that was a little tense.
Well, tense, yes. Intense and thriller-ish, yes. But in terms of like scares, there are a few jump scares, sure. But I just think it's more of a fun slasher film. And I remember that was my biggest takeaway from the movie when you and I left the theater was, what a fun-ass movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a blast. The cinematography is awesome. There are a lot of really cool shots. Speaking of the shot with her hanging in the warehouse, when you first see her, there are these two huge fans behind her and the lights coming through it, and it's just she's framed by this light, circling behind her, and it's just awesome. But what I loved about this movie is that you felt bad for Chucky. It's basically he's Frankenstein's monster.
It is.
And I love that take on this character to where he's not a possessed toy. He's not possessed by David Hyde Pierce. No, yeah. He's a robot who is basically imprinted on this young kid. I'm your best friend. I'm literally going to do anything to protect you because you're my best friend to the end. It's in the song. So I love the idea that that kid starts seeing him do horrible shit to protect him, killing the cat because the cat scratches him, killing the boyfriend, the mom's boyfriend, because he's mean to him. He's not doing this out of, I just want to kill some shit. No, Chucky's doing it because this will make Andy happy, and that's my job.
And this will keep Andy safe. Exactly.
Yeah. So when he does have that turn at the end to where, I'm just going to kill everybody, it's because he's just finally had it with, this kid doesn't love me, so I'm going to hurt what he loves. And it's just, you feel bad for him for a long time because you're like, it's not his fault. Like it just sucks. And Mark Hamill's performance as Chucky is so good.
And it's different.
It's so much fun. This movie even made me like Aubrey Plaza, and that's a big thing.
I like her.
She's good in this. I don't like her in anything else.
I love Parks and
Rec, but I just didn't like her in it at all.
Anyway.
No, but Cody, keep talking about it.
Yeah, and then this was my first into Child's Play in a long time, because again, I saw Seed years ago. But going to see this, and personally not really having anything in my mind to compare it to, again, like looking at it as its own movie, I was able to just love this movie as its own. And again, some of the comedy in this movie too, like when they're trying to keep the head hidden throughout the middle of the movie.
That's great.
Some of the other suspenseful kills, like when was it the boyfriend when he's hanging up the Christmas lights or pulling down the Christmas or something with the Christmas lights, and then he ends up getting run over by a lawn garden weevil.
Yeah, it's
Tiller.
Because he's wrapped in the Christmas lights, and the lights get thrown into the rototiller.
Yeah,
so it just starts pulling him. But that's not even really. I mean, yeah, that kills him. But Chucky jumps on his chest and stabs him and says, "This is for Tupac." It's just fun. It's just a fun movie, and I really do hope that, like I said, about 10 years from now, that there's a new appreciation for what a fun movie it is when people just set aside the fact that it's a Child's Play movie. Like, honestly, if this movie was called anything but Child's Play, it would have done even better because people wouldn't be unfairly criticizing it against the original.
And they would have had to change the design of the doll. They wouldn't have been able to use Chucky.
Of course. And a lot of people didn't like the design of it. It's not my favorite even now, but it still works because he looks he looks even more childlike, and I think it works really well when it's lit really cool. It's just fun. I really do wish more people would see it. I'm hoping it gets a sequel. I hope it did well enough because it was fun. I really do enjoy the hell out of it.
And again, one of the best advertising campaigns for a movie because it came out the same day as Toy Story 4.
And then a week before Annabelle Comes Home.
So I mean the posters of just the random Toy Story, close to Toy Story characters gruesomely murdered, and Annabelle too as well.
Yeah,
gruesomely murdered, and it's just it was fun.
Yeah, I love it to death. It was a no-brainer. It was like top 3 for me. It even hurt me putting it even at 3 because I just adore this movie and have watched it many times since it's come out a year ago. Like the score, we haven't even talked about it yet, but Bear McCreary's score for this movie is my favorite score of the whole series. Granted, the scores in the Child's Play series isn't really anything to write home about, but his score is fantastic. And I'm not even talking about the Buddy song, which is in itself an awesome song. And I love they end the movie with it because it's just such a goofy moment, but it's great. I love Child's Play 2019, and I will not fight anyone who says otherwise, but I will defend it to the ends of the earth because I really love it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Both of our number 3s.
That's
Both
right.
of our numbers 3.
That's right. Moving down to my number 2.
Nick, what's your number 2?
Which is a punt from earlier. Cody's dead last. My number 2 is Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
You bastard. All right.
My list was a wild ride.
So the reason I love Curse of Chucky is because I didn't expect it.
Okay.
I didn't expect it. When it came out, it had been out for a few weeks. And I think I watched it when it went on Netflix. So it might have even been longer than a few weeks. And I didn't hear much about it, just that there's a new Chucky movie. It looked to be a reboot, kind of a reset. Chucky looked different. You know, it was still Chucky, but he wasn't stitched up like we'd seen. Like it was a new Chucky. So, okay, so they're just kind of starting fresh. You know, I remember thinking it's going to be connected somehow. I still knew it was Brad Dourif voicing Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I knew that was going to be keeping in tune with that. So I knew there was going to be some continuity, but not what I expected.
Right.
So when I put it on, I didn't expect anything. I just, okay, let's see how this is. And I remember it ended and just being blown away by how good it was. Like it brought Chucky back to horror, which I appreciated because I did not like Seed of Chucky for going so far in the comedic realm. You can go comedy with Chucky, which there are some funny moments in this.
There are some funny moments
it's
here
more,
too.
It's more grim humor, which is kind of what Bride of Chucky was. And I appreciate that. But this took it back to being horror. It's basically a haunted house movie with a killer doll. It's in one location and with a character who has mobility issues. And that's scary as hell. That you get knocked out of that wheelchair, guess what? You're crawling away. You're
dragging yourself.
Doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get stuck in the elevator with the doll.
Yeah, it's such a good moment. I love Fiona Dourif as Nika. I think she's awesome in both Cult and this, but really good in this one. I had never seen her in anything, and when I found out she was Brad Dourif's daughter, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. She's awesome, and so is he. And then you see the resemblance between their faces.
In Cult, especially, yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole cast is good, and it's just fun. It has so many, and I love they wait. We know because we've seen 5 Chuckies before this. That doll is alive. We know it is.
It took so long for him to show, though.
I love that. I love that they waited because you know it's going to happen, and it took it back to, again, the original movie where for most of that first movie, you sit there and wonder, is it the doll or could it be Andy? Like if it was your first time watching it and you knew nothing about it, it could be the doll or it could be the kid. And I kind of like I said, we know it's a Chucky movie.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones is coming to life again. We know this. So them dragging that out, I love that they waited as long as they did and gave us little glimpses. So then when we do see that first moment when he's I think the first moment's when he's electrocuting the babysitter, right?
No,
I think that's the first time we really see him like standing there looking
the
evil.
first time we see him moving when he's poisoning the dinner.
But you just see a hand.
But you just see the hand.
That's true. I'm talking about like the first time, like we full on like see Chucky doing shit. I think is when he's electrocuted.
When he walks up behind the nanny, yeah.
And there's the great shot when she's being electrocuted, and you just see his face, and he's just looking all evil. It's like, oh, what a great image! Like it's so good.
And this was after the makeup had been peeled off too. So it's again.
No, that was before.
That was before.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
The makeup being peeled off is almost. Basically, it's right before the climax. That's when he kills the sister, and Nika finally sees the doll alive, and then you're basically off and running at that point. The husband finds out about it, his death. Oh my god! Again with the gruesome deaths in this movie, they're so violent. But I love, like, we talk about now when they peel that makeup off. Like I remember when first I watched this, like I said, I thought it was just a new movie, a new standalone kind of.
And that's what I thought worked. Because I partially knew I thought I knew that there was a continuation, but then I'm sitting there. It's a redesigned Chucky doll. Why is it new? Like,
yeah,
is it the possessed? Is it the possessed doll again, or is it?
Yeah, and that makes it so much fun. Like I said, when she's fiddling with the lip, well, for one, you're thinking, is he gonna bite her? Which he does.
But I was waiting for it a couple times.
Yeah, and you're wondering what is that, and she peels it off, and you see the stitching, and then when you see the full, it's like. Oh, how cool. I remember literally doing that out loud going, oh, badass. Like, what a great reveal that, like, no, this is 100% in the continuity of the other series.
And a little bit before that, when they're watching the home video and it shows.
You see him.
When it shows, yeah.
When it shows who?
James Earl Jones. In the background there. And it's like, that's him. That's.
Yeah.
The guy that got killed at the beginning of the first movie. Which
even then, I wasn't even necessarily the first time thinking this was still in continuity. I just thought it was them just adding more lore to the series at like
using the same character still, but
yeah, using the same character that basically this is still that same Chucky doll possessed by Neil Patrick Harris, but it just happens to be this is a different world with him, you know what I mean? So even then I wasn't thinking like, oh, when he peels that off or when they peel it off, he's the same doll. Even going further to the end of the movie when fucking Jennifer Tilly's in it as Tiffany, you know, like that's a great moment when she's mailing the Chucky doll out. It's like this was all in continuity, and it was such a good twist for that. And
it was.
I loved it. I really love Curse. I think it has so many good suspenseful, like we said earlier, the Russian roulette with the poison soup.
That scene went on so long, and I was trying to figure out.
Perfect.
When it's zoomed in on all of their mouths taking a bite, and it's like, come on, just.
I love it. I love it. And I remember sussing out who it was going to be just based on who could it be. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember thinking like, okay, they're not going to kill Nika. They're not going to kill the little girl. I remember thinking it's either going to be the babysitter. Did you? I remember thinking it's either going to be the babysitter or it's going to be the priest because they're the two that are expendable at this point. Do you know what I mean? And then the fact that the poison's not even what kills him.
No, it's the horrendous car accident that cuts his head off.
Decapitated. It makes it even funnier. I just love it. I love Curse of Chucky a lot. I think it's my two just because I've watched it a bunch of times since it's come out. I love this direction it takes it in. I love the mythology that's built around it to where literally the flashbacks take place right before the first movie when he's in that room with the mom and she's pregnant and then the cops come and and
he runs across to the store and gets shot by Prince Humperdinck.
Exactly. It's such a good build on that series and an awesome new take on that mythology, and I love Curse of Chucky to death. I think
Curse is my number 6 now. I'm moving it up. Cult is my dead last now. And I will say the post-credit scenes in both of these were in Curse and Cult. I
don't remember what's the one in Cult.
The one in Cult is it cut back to Andy's cabin and Kyle from the second one walks in.
That's right. She walks in, which is another cool thing. So I'm hoping they continue that with the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, the post-credit scene for this one's fun with Andy. I didn't expect that the first time either.
Well, and as I was watching through them, I was skipping all of the credits because I didn't expect any post-credit scene. So when I started Cult and it shows Andy shooting him, I was like, I feel like I missed something.
Oh,
I
you
don't
didn't.
remember
Oh,
that
okay.
happening.
You
And then
skipped
I
that in
went
Curse.
back to Curse and went to the very end. It's like, okay, there's a minute long post-credit scene. And I love how I love the post-credit scene in Curse just because of Andy expected it. Like when Chucky
That's what's
turns around and
great.
Andy already has the gun to his head.
That was such a cheer moment first time I saw it, to where it's like, oh, he was ready. He knew it
Mhm.
was going to happen one of these days. It was such a good moment.
He was totally ready for Jamie Lee Curtis to come back.
I do wish Andy was in Cult even more, because I remember when that ended and when they announced Cult and Andy was going to be in it,
Mhm.
I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of cool. We're going to get Nika and him teaming up like the whole movie, and that wasn't it. We
No.
still only get Andy for maybe 10 minutes total screen time.
Yeah.
Which is it's good. It's good screen
It's
time.
good.
I love the date he goes on in the beginning. You feel really bad for him, but
Oh, you Googled me.
yeah, I just wish there was more, and I do hope he's in the TV series to further that even more, because he got locked into the insane asylum at the end. But
Right.
no, I love Curse a lot. It's my number 2.
Yeah. Like, I don't hate any of these movies. I do like Curse. I like Cult. I like 3. Let's see. So my number 2. No, or anything else on Curse before I move over to my number 2?
No, nothing else.
So my number 2 is going to be a punt. My number 2 is the OG.
Punt.
All right. So my number 1, my favorite one is Child's Play 2.
You know what's funny is I could flip any given day.
Okay.
Any given day. Like I seriously considered at one point putting Child's Play 2 at my 1, and then I eventually it ended up where it did, and I felt bad about that, because I think Child's Play 2 is incredible. Like I said, my top 5 basically could
It's
all
just
be
to
my
throw it
number
at the
1.
wall and what order they
Damn
landed
near
in.
Pretty much. And actually, is my number 5 number 2? Yeah,
Your number 5
my
is
top
number 2.
5 for sure. Like literally, I couldn't tell you how many times this past week I reordered my list, just because it was like, that should be higher than it is, but I want it here, but it should be here. Like truly, my 5 is so flexible, because there are days when I think Child's Play 2 is better than Child's Play. There are days I think Curse is the best one. There are days I think Bride is I killed a bug, better than any of the others. Like, so I'm fine with that being your number 1, because Child's Play 2 was awesome.
Yeah, Child's Play 2,
I'll give it this. It's got the best finale of the entire series.
Oh, in the factory.
It's got the best climax of the whole series.
That whole scene in the factory. I mean, that factory is screaming OSHA violations, and I will say,
oh, absolutely.
That is I was pissed when they're running through the warehouse, the stock house of all of it's like, who organizes a stock house with dead ends? It needs to be organized rows so you can get a forklift in everywhere, and that part kind of annoyed me, but I get why it was. I mean,
maybe Chucky did it. Maybe Chucky got there early. Maybe Sarah Jessica Parker got there, rearranged all the boxes
to make a little maze. And
yeah.
So I mean, that was wild. I love this whole movie. That again, nobody believes Andy that the doll's alive. The doll that's there is what, Tommy or Timmy or a different good guy doll.
Something like, yeah, it's not the Chucky.
And I love that, Chucky buries it in the yard, and the whole time, every time they're in the yard, it's like, when are they going to find the buried doll? I like that the whole movie he's hunting Chucky. He's basically like the part where he's walking through the house with the turkey carver or the electric knife, whatever you want to call it. And
I only ever use it to carve a turkey, so that's what I'm calling it.
Yeah, that turkey carver when he's just going through the house.
That's all I ever use it for.
And the foster father finds and is like, put the knife down, I feel bad for Andy in this movie, like legitimately, because again, nobody believes him. They think he's crazy, even though, like, in the past, I mean, the mom believes it enough to where she's in a asylum, which they almost could have brought her back.
Which is that's one of the unfortunate things. That is one thing I don't like about this. It sucks that like that happened. You know what I mean? That like the mom ended up having to go to an insane asylum because of this crazy shit. Like after such a triumphant ending in that first movie. But and
They
I know
kinda
this
totally
one
take it
you
away
could look
from him.
at as why I don't like the third one, which is the same shit. Yeah, but with the second one, I feel like there's enough different because it's almost like a continuation of that second movie to where, yeah, Andy gets put in foster care.
Mhm.
Chucky's still after him, after him. You know what I mean? Like Jennifer Love Hewitt still wants to put her soul into Andy, and it's still an entertaining movie because I like the dynamic. I think the characters in this one are some of the best in the series. I love Kyle.
Mhm.
The foster dad is a complete jackass.
Mhm.
Um,
The mom is
I even
fun.
love, yeah, I even love the beginning with the toy company creating the new one based using his eyes and it electrocutes the guy.
That was
Like
so.
what the
It's
hell?
like that was such a random. It's like, and my thought process is like, okay, they destroyed it. Why are they bringing the doll back? And how much
Yeah.
does this one doll make this company? Because it's like that is the only toy that this company makes. There's not a line of different like Raggedy Ann.
Not like the
There's
new
no
well,
Andy.
not like the new one where you've got
Right.
the bear buddy,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, but I get it though, because look at the Cabbage Patch Kids, which is the inspiration for this movie. The original was
Right.
the craze over the Cabbage Patch Kids. There's different versions.
There's different
But
versions.
this one, has different names, probably different outfits and stuff like that.
You don't see any
But
of the other outfits in any of the packaging that they see.
true. But it's just it. I still just have a blast with it. I love it. They take it into a bigger climax, into a bigger movie by having that climax and even
Mhm.
more gruesome deaths. I love the when he's attacking the teacher with the ruler, the yardstick.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I love they reference that in in Cult when they're naming off different kills, and Chucky goes, "Hey, all of those were real."
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, of course they all are ones that happen, but it's the finale I always love. Like I
Mm.
love the finale. I love them going through that factory. Yeah, it's a massive OSHA violation, but it's great. I love when
Why
the
they have to
security guard
climb through
falls.
the eye assembling machine to get to the exit.
It's so good. It's just such a fun house of chaos, and that's
It
what
is.
I love about the
It really
finale.
is.
It's so good. Chucky just gets covered in latex, such a good death, and
Mhm.
blows up. I love it. It's just fun when the guy's eyes get replaced by the doll eyes. It's funny.
I was
love
waiting for it. Like that was
Oh,
another one
yeah.
of those that
Yep.
they waited just long enough to where it's like, is it gonna happen? It's not
Mhm.
gonna happen. Oh shit, it's happening.
Yeah, it's just great. I love Child's Play too. It's a fun movie.
It is. It is a fun movie. So yeah, and my number one. Hey,
And my number one is the
Your
original
number one.
Child's Play from
It's the
1989. 1989. Right?
Start. I
88.
mean that again.
88?
Start. Yeah.
89.
Starts out 88.
88.
Starts out the whole series. You got Prince Humperdinck shooting.
I love the opening of the movie. I love that we see, basically the beginning of what happens. I like they open it with that it's not just
Mhm.
told in a story or in a flashback. No, I love the movie opens with the vampire from Fright Night running down Sean William Scott. It's great. You know what I mean? Like it's I love you actually get to see Brad Dourif.
Mhm.
We wouldn't see him again until Curse, I believe. Like
Think
actually
so.
see Brad Dourif, so it's just fun seeing that actor actually being in it. It's just a fun suspense movie. I love this movie because it's basically a whodunit.
It is.
The first time you would go and see this, based on depending on the marketing, I guess. I don't know if the marketing back then showed the doll was alive, but you could easily go into this movie thinking maybe that is the kid. I mean, granted, the movie opens with a guy doing something to a doll, so there's going to be something up. But you could, I think, watch this movie and think, is it the kid or is it a doll for
Right.
about half of it until that great drop the mic moment when the mom's holding the box and the batteries fall out. I love
Yeah,
it. I
that
love
was-
it. And then the great moment when she looks, the head spins and hi, I'm Chucky. Ah, she drops it. Oh, I love it. It's such a good jump scare.
Uh-huh.
And then just the first time he actually comes to life when she goes to light him on fire and the camera pans over and it's the obvious different doll that's got the animatronics because he
Right.
always looks slightly different. Just you bitch. And he just starts flailing and attacking her. It's so good because I've always thought just punt him across the room. He's a toy. you know?
Yeah, I always wonder that like during all of these movies, I always wonder, why don't they just punt him or I mean,
does he have the strength of an adult? We don't know. I guess
right?
they've never.
I mean, because he
said,
does
but-
strangle. They do strangle people, and it's not like, and he's like able to push the wheelchair, like when he's put in cult when he's pushing the wheelchair and his little legs are just animatronic legs behind the wheelchair.
But it's just great. It's so much fun. When that turn finally does happen, the movie just ratchets up even another level to where then you get the chaos you've come for, which is an evil toy movie, you know, when he's attacking Prince Humperdinck in the cop car. You know, like what a great moment when the knife's coming through the seat and up the seat between his legs. And you know, I was watching it the other day, my brother was here, and he goes, why doesn't he just stop the car? And then seconds later, Chucky pushes his hand on the gas pedal. I'm like, and that is why. You know,
well, because in 2, like she buckles up and then crashes the car and he flies through the windshield.
Yeah, absolutely smart. And it's just great. Brad Dourif just, again, gives such an awesome performance in this movie. I just, you know, his performance as Sarah Michelle Gellar, I just think it's bar none the best thing of the series. And I love they've been able to keep Brad Dourif for all of it. He's been game for every single one, for every version, for every type of Chucky he has to play. And I love they're keeping him for the series because he is Chucky, like that Chucky, you know?
He is. Which, I mean, that reminds me again, I brought it up before when we were just chatting at the before we started recording, but I forgot about, you know, the best part of Seed of Chucky when Pippin kills Wormtongue.
Exactly. Yeah, when
got the kill.
When he finally kills him. Yeah, it's a good moment. But Child's Play will always, I think, be my number one probably because that's the one that started it all. And I do still think it's just infinitely watchable. Like, it's one of those, if it's on, I can sit and watch it in any part because I just think it's such a good, suspenseful movie and I love it to death. It's directed by the guy who did Fright Night, Tom Holland. So I believe that's probably why Chris Sarandon is in it.
Okay. Before he was Spider-Man?
I really love it. Who was he? Oh, Spider-Man. Chris Sarandon played Spider-Man?
Tom Holland played Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Apparently, they just started filming that today. The new one.
Oh, really?
He finished Uncharted and went straight into filming Spider-Man.
Sweet.
So yeah, no, Child's Play, first one, my favorite. I just think it's a blast. And using voodoo, you know, to put Jeffrey Dean Morgan's body or soul inside the body of a toy. You know, or Jackie Earle Haley, or any of the other named people.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes, exactly. Charles Lee Ray is iconic. And
Charles Lee Ray.
Curious to see
Chucky.
Where the series continues because it's another kind of like Chucky. It'll be back. It'll always be back.
I mean, the series. When does the series set to start? Just 2021.
It just said 2021. The little teaser they came out with.
And it's sci-fi, right?
Yes.
So it'll be.
They have fully committed, apparently, Don Mancini and producers of Sci-Fi, that like he will get to be the Chucky you love. We will be dropping F-bombs. Like they're actually going to let them do what Chucky is known for with being on TV. Which
it'll be a
late
night
those
TV
networks
series.
don't have to.
Yeah, they
those
don't.
Networks don't have to. Fargo on FX or just FX in general, they drop F-bombs on FX all the time. Like. In their shows now, like American Horror Story does it all the time. Feud did it.
Archer still bleeps, but I think Archer airs a little earlier.
And that might just be more for aesthetic. You know what I mean?
Comedic
just
value.
Funnier. Whereas Fargo, at least once a week, at least this season, I think we're like 6 weeks in or 5 weeks in, every episode so far has had at least one F-bomb. And it's fine. Like, who cares? Like, it's part, like, it is what it is. Like, so I'm happy to see they're going to do that with Child's Play because it needs that. That is the DNA of that series, is him just being a foul-mouthed little toy. So there you have it, everybody. That was our list of our ranking of the Child's Play series, all 8 movies, including the remake. It was fun. It was a fun list.
Fun week of watching all of these movies.
To watch them all for the first time, yeah, except for Seed and the remake, which is cool.
Right.
I like when we do those, when we have a series that's fresh to you, to get fresh eyes on something, you know. That's right. Those fresh eyes right there. I'm going to pluck them out and put in toy ones. So that is our list. Head over to Facebook. Let us know what you thought of our list. Did you like the list? What would you put on your list? Let us know. Head to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review, please. It really helps the show. Head over to YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, right down below, make sure that subscribe button is clicked and the bell so you never miss notification that our new episodes are live. So make sure you push both of those. And if you're on iTunes, leave that review. Spread the word to your friends and family. Buy a Chucky doll, I'm assuming from Hot Topic. Or not Sam Goody. Find a Sam Goody. No,
Spencer's?
Spencer's. Go to Spencer's. Because that's where I always saw the Chucky dolls. When I was younger, I used to never go in Spencer's. There's a Chucky doll in there. I'm not going in there. Buy one, take it home, and take out the little voice box in the back. And instead, put in a little iPod with our show constantly playing, and then mail it to a little kid that you want to terrorize. Now, when they open it, they're going to hear our show, and that's going to imprint on them for decades after the fact. What was that show I used to hear out of that Chucky doll that talked to me every single day? And then they're going to spread the word to their friends and family. It was the Get Ranked podcast. And guess what? We're everywhere, spread by a Chucky doll. So that's your goal and your task for this week. But make sure you go trick or treat safely. In all seriousness, I know everyone watching this is probably watching it the day after Halloween, but hopefully you all had a good Halloween. I'm assuming we did.
Probably. I'm assuming so too. I'm just looking on eBay. They have like legit Good Guys dolls, which I imagine
you can get one. They made them. I think Trick or Treat Studios. You can buy
that's what this is.
A Good Guy doll.
$500.
I think they're cheaper on Trick or Treat's website.
Yeah, this is just eBay.
Because this comes, with like the box, like they did a complete like replica of the Good Guy doll, not a Chucky doll where he's all evil.
Yeah,
but I'm not buying one of those.
And I wonder,
I'm not tempting fate. Same reason I don't say Candyman in the Mirror 5 times. I'm not fucking with that.
I wonder if they had like the plethora of how many they made for the scene in 2. Like the ones, I know a lot of it was probably empty boxes, but you do see like the front of a lot of the boxes to where it has the window in the front. And you can see the doll in there. I wonder if they actually have
or just an image of it that just looked really good, maybe.
Or that. I mean, yeah, if they.
Or they printed off just the face and put it on like other dolls that they could buy cheap.
Or even from the beginning of 1 when he collapses into the stack of them.
That's true. Yeah, they just kept them. But
yeah. I don't know.
So yes, we do want to tell everybody at the time of this airing, which is that Saturday on Halloween, make sure you go vote. It's coming up in a few days. Go do it. Mm-hmm. No matter who you vote for, do your duty and vote.
Duty.
That's poop. Like Donald Trump, he's poopy. Okay, with that, I think that wraps up the show for this week. For the Get Ranked Movie Podcast, I am Nick.
And I'm Cody.
Happy Halloween! Ooh, spooky!
Oh, what a world! What a world! Get Ranked, a Movie Podcast, episode 82, Child's Play.